wanted to bring you guys a video of a topic today of pretty much my pure, salty, unfiltered opinion, which to an extent is pretty toxic. So if you get offended easily, I'd highly recommend just going somewhere else. Close the video now while you still can. Okay, now that I'm giving you a second of time, anyone who cares or wants a good laugh will probably enjoy this, but just for the sake of what solo lane is right now, I'm just gonna pull up the pretty much completely average god builder. I'm just gonna have Nike here. So, right now, the solo laners that are meta are pretty bad enough. I mean, Hercules is high. He's not the godsend of things right now, though. Those stats obviously go to your Bellonas, your Osiris, your good Amaterasu players, and so on and so forth. Anyone who basically knows the kind of playstyle that you get in the solo lane can get away with a lot of stuff. But your typical, like, this is gonna win your team fights because of certain abilities in the kit. So, let's just get into, I think I'm gonna break this down. Gods that are meta, builds that are meta, and why I just don't like it. So, first of all, going with gods. As you can see, Amaterasu, Bellona, Osiris, naming those three gods off the top of my head, then comes shortly after Hercules and stuff like that. The top three rated solo gods, by a lot of people, are auto attack based. And why this is a problem? I think this item's annoying even when carries build it, but Dead's Toll. 8 health, 3 mana. 8 health. So, unless I'm mistaken, this was healing 5 health back in Season 3. So, characters with cleaves would hit for 5 health times 3, 15. Now, they're getting 3 more health per swing. That's a whole 6 more health. So, you just basically took that old swing and just got a swing that was just completely better. So it's like getting a 4th swing of Death's Toll, but better. And then 3 mana, so you have a ridiculous amount of sustained. But with new strats that have reoccurred, or I don't even know why I said that word, I'm just dumb right now, my brain's not even on. So you have an 800 gold item. So then you have 700 gold left to spend on anything else. You would think, what am I going to spend it on? 90 of you people, 90% of you people will probably know what this is. The other of you, let me explain. Strats made up by some people. I'm just going to say I learned this strat from DM Brandon. Oh my god. You can start double starters. And I don't mean, like these two, or like insert a 800 starter with a 500 starter. I mean 2 800 starters and be at lane. So let's say the average time someone needs to be at lane is around the 30-second mark. The latest you can be safely is around, let's just say 35 seconds. This gets you to there 34 to 33. Granted, because sometimes, I'd say for console, you probably want to wait at the 30-second mark rather than the 29-second mark, how this strat's supposed to work. So, if you pick up Teleport in your fountain, try to explain this as best as I can. If you pick up Teleport in your fountain, and you wait out the timer of, like, the pre-match stuff, like, you have a good chunk of time, then when the game starts at 0, and, like, it keeps going 1, like, it's going up now rather than counting down. If you wait to 29 or 30 seconds, make sure your timings, you'll learn the timing more so you can be consistent with this. You will then have 789 gold at 29 seconds in your fountain. Then you can basically, with these 4 seconds because of the animation of teleport, you can then build up enough gold to buy a Mark of the Vanguard or Death's Toll. Whatever one you bought first is the one you're going to buy right before you go to lane. You can basically get your second starter item as you blink into the lane. You don't have to worry about pots because you have Mark of the Vanguard. You have protections at level 1. as a warrior already, but you're getting increased protections. Then, all damage taken is reduced by 5. On a level 1 target, this is retarded. Minions do less to you, so you can ape on the minions more with Death's Toll. Need I say that you now have another 100 health for Death's Toll. So, if you're playing Bellona or Osiris, or any god with a cleave that you can build Death's Toll on, granted, I wouldn't say do it on gods that are just bad for their cleaves, like Nike. This doesn't work. Bluestone Nike's still better. But, so let's look at the stats you get as a whole. 200 health, 10 physical protection, and 10 physical power. While having really good sustain at level 1. And a lot of physical tankiness at level 1. Now, I wouldn't recommend this as highly. It loses a lot of its strength if you're not fighting a physical. But if you're trying to win games right now, Bellona and Osiris are two of the top most picked. Osiris pretty much countering Bellona, while Bellona is just probably a safer pick, I think, for a lot of solo laners that can't really play Osiris very well. Some people just know the god inside out mechanically, and then some people, for me, like an example, just suck with the god. I can't play him to save my life. Excuse me. So with that being out of the way, the builds, my biggest complaint of items is probably, for lack of better word, just stupidly overused items. Like, there doesn't feel like there's a lot of situationally good defense. Like, the amount of times I've seen someone build High to the Urchin in the solo lane are just so low. And the use of these robes, even after Mantle of Discord's somewhat of a nerf, somewhat buff nerf, still being picked up. This is still being picked up. No, it's not stopping anybody. And you have Gladiator's Shield, which is interesting. I really like this item as Season 4's drop, even though I hated Season 4's drop. Just a lot of just really bad discovery of really stupid things that I just hated, but that's another rant for another day. Anytime you can heal for this, so people were just doing stupid strats like, oh, let's run Gladiator's Shield, let's run Soul Eater so you can just start healing. But, man, I'm just at a loss for words. This is gonna be an awkward video, huh? But let's just say a normal solo strat. Now, granted, you're probably not playing Nike if you want to win your games. This god has an amazing passive, but nothing else. Eh. So let's just say starter this, another starter. Then you could argue and say that you wanted pots. Then you can get boots online. Fairly easy, especially since you're going to be getting a lot of farm, a lot of sustain. You could argue that if you do it correctly, you could stay longer. Your choice of brown boots or red boots. And then it's kind of your vastness is just so limited. You can try going Mystical Mail, which is an item that's becoming popular in the solo lane, and man, do I hate it. Because you have gods that are really good at sitting in your face because they have sustain from Death's Toll. And they're warriors that have natural base protections. So when you give a warrior natural base protections, an item with not the highest protection stat, but still pretty decent, then a good chunk of health, then you're starting to get into territories where you're getting a bit too much tankiness. Now granted, Mystical Mail's price is pretty high, but you're getting a good chunk of damage output, especially the earlier you buy this, the better it gets, because unlike something for a mage where you get more health as the game goes on, so E-Staff would become progressively more powerful. Therefore, you're chunking technically more and more health each time, which you're doing more damage. But 5% of your health, still 5% of your health. It's not going to make a difference on that health bar. So for Mystical Mail, you're getting that 40 tick damage of magical damage, and most solo laners are probably going to rush a physical defense item as Breastplate or a Mystical Mail of their own. Not necessarily a magical defense item. They might go a health thing, which is a remote counter to magical, such as Frostbound Hammer. But I can think a good 2/3 of the solo laners can really kind of just not do. Like, Sun Wukong, you can just get some tankier values on you online. The damage that you're going to be doing at around the 25 to 30 minute mark is just pitiful. Like, the only person that you can really slapstick around is carries and mages. With Wukong, the buff they gave him, imagine your daily, like, your crash at like 3 to 4 a.m. That buff just made his crash a lot later. There's still a very notable crash that every single ability god really hits. Unless you're Susanoo, and then you can just be brain dead. But once again, another rant. So I think that's all I really can cover about why I hate the builds. Everything else I'd say is interesting. I really like the change they did to Shogun's Kasari. Even though I don't think it makes much sense that an item cheaper than Fatalis can not only give you attack speed, cooldown reduction, but magical protection. Okay. Like, honestly, if this item's cheaper, I would love to see, like, troll builds of Freya, considering Witchblade, when it actually gave physical protections and was a big fat FU to hunters, it was good. It was built. It was played. Next up, the only other thing that I really have to say about builds, Sunder. I hate this relic. This relic makes no sense to me why it just is in the game. Now, let's just read these stats. So, using this item fires a bolt that travels 70 units. That means nothing as far as just how you fire it. The aimer shows you exactly what's going to happen when you fire it. 40 true damage, and 14 damage per god level. So, let's just say, probably the better times of using this is when you just hit your ult, and hopefully, let's just say your opponent's, like, barely level 5, but they're still level 4. So the amount of damage you could do to them would basically be 110 damage to them. That's really dumb. That's not even the passive. That's just 110 damage from your relic. And it's true damage. There's no way to be it can't be mitigated. It's going to be a flat 110. That's a decent chunk. Now, granted, late game, it's obviously going to fall down a little bit. But at the same time, that passives keep going up until you hit level 20. And then, although this is the upgraded version of Sundering Spear, it will do 15% more damage from everything. Everything. Because, you know, we need like stupid amounts of burst this meta to just completely shut someone down and slap them. So, let's see. What's the best example of this? Now, we're just gonna, let's see, 20 times 14 is 280. Then, plus the 40 that you already get, that's 320. Let's keep that number in our heads. So then, let's go to a very played solo laner, such as Bellona. Abilities, and here's Bludgeon. Now, let's see. Let's just showing this at level 20. We're not going to take into advantage of the scaling that will make this even more dumb. So, 310. Obviously, some of this damage can be mitigated. But, for this, let's just compare upgraded Sunder. Because it's going to be easier for me to calculate 310 damage. Time, and obviously late game, so I don't know why I keep butting in with that, but... So, with her damage and Sunder, we're not counting the initial damage of Sunder alone. Her Bludgeon will do about 77 more. Plus her scalings and stuff like that being thrown in to give her even more. So, even just me having power boots goes into my Sunder. Even ninjas goes into my Sunder, because 60% of my scaling. And that's not even counting the spin damage, because most likely, if you're doing it in the solo lane, you're going to just have that spin damage. So, if we were to really calculate an accurate number, so we're going to have... So, physical power, we're going to have 85% scaling altogether. We're just going to make an average thing. let's just say a normal Bellona build could look something like this. I don't bother updating the pages half the time, I just do what I do. So, this, and this. Let's just say you're being generous, you're kind of giving them a stomp, and you build kin size. That still is only going to be so generous, but... just say I just put on another defense item. So we have 184. 84 times... or 184 times 84. So now we have a number of our scaling, which is 155, basically. So we have that 155. This is all just going to be level 20, so bear with me here is just the estimates. So we have the scaling altogether of 85% of 155. So already we have an additional spin out of the entire ability. It's like 2 spins and you get your slam. So then you get 460 damage out of the ability itself. So then we add 460. Now we're getting around, this ability with damage can do up to 600. With the abilities and the scalings alone. That's a bit stupid, don't you think? But I mean, mitigateds usually knock this down to 400 late game and stuff like that. But if we're just talking on a squishy target, or for an example, when most people are going to be using Sunder, when the warrior of their team, their probably best protections may be a tier 1 breastplate or Mark of the Vanguard, and then the enemy warrior is snowballed, so protections almost mean nothing because you're going to have a lot more damage on you. So then, if we take, so let's just take advantage. 615 is the number because it's around. I'm just gonna keep rounding up, like, because it keeps going 614.56. Let's just say that's 615. So then, if we take 25% of 615, that's an additional. That's an additional spin. You're getting 3 spins on Bellona due to her scalings. Her scalings are probably just going to make the spin damage, so if it's like level 3, your scalings are probably going to make an additional 90. So you get 3 spins going off, and then you get your slam. I don't think I need to mention that on Bellona, the slam damage increases. It's basically another form of Sunder. Oh my god. You're starting to get a really stupid amount of damage. So basically, what we've learned is, if you Sunder somebody... Okay, so imagine this. I crank up my spin on somebody. There's 2 people. The person I have Sundered and the person I haven't. If I basically make my damage increased because I've spun with the person in my AoE that hasn't been Sundered, I'm doing another 153 to the person I did Sunder. Oh my god. So I just get 3 extra spin damage. Why? Why is that a thing? Just please. Don't even get me started on Osiris, because, let's just see, 10-second cooldown. 15-second cooldown. 20 to 16-second cooldown. I mean, granted, this is a warrior, you're gonna build cooldown on it, so the 75-second cooldown is kind of a joke. But then we have Osiris, an auto-attack god, similar to Bellona, but not as necessarily the same one-sided thing. Excuse the terrible builds, haven't bothered updating them. Usually I just hate searching through my items. So then we get a 5-second cooldown, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Looking a little low there, don't you think? Then for this, a 90-second cooldown on something that's going to proc your passive that basically gives you Fatalis. I don't think I need to describe how dumb this is. You can Sunder somebody, and it lasts for a couple seconds, so that's not even, let's just bring back up the example of Bellona here, where if, we just add that 615, your total damage numbers around 770 for a Sunder Bellona at level 20 if you didn't have good protection values. That's not fair. That's just actually not fair. And the meta of solo laners, it's not ability gods half the time. It's either they can sit in your face ability gods, so they don't worry about sustain, or they're auto attack gods because of their sustain. I just don't understand the fine medium between that. That's so dumb. It's like, so you know us auto attack warriors, right? If we built full damage, you know what items we have capable to? Not only do we get the items of ability-based assassins, but we get some of the stupidest ever thought about items that carries build. So when you put those two together with somewhat high natural base protection stats, like, what is there not to want? And like I'm talking about these three main gods, I'm cool with an Amaterasu player that can play the god mechanically. Granted, it's not the hardest thing ever, but it's harder than playing Bellona or Osiris. And I can respect a good Osiris player. Bellona's probably like one of the easiest gods in this game to play for me. And you don't even have to know what she does mechanically. It's just so easy to find success with this damage, and this stun. Half the people would probably not even know how to use this ability efficiently, and I'm probably one of them. That's dumb. That's just way too dumb. And my only thought of how to fix this, and this could be pretty narrow-minded on my part, but make teleport. Make teleport maybe just not in the game. I feel like this makes games last 40 minutes long, and we don't want that. But at the same time, I feel like Sunder's kind of a taste of my own medicine. You complain about wanting a game to not last 40 minutes, but this is exactly what a 40-minute game turns into. Now the game's going to end in 10 minutes since you can't do anything about it. I would love Sunder to not be in the game. It almost just seems like, hey guys, you know Nemesis that really makes solo laners feel bad? We need to give her better advantage. So if your solo laner Sunders somebody, Nemesis ults somebody, they are dead. There's just nothing about it. You just turn your system off. Just other stupidness like that. It's kind of one of my favorite roles to play this season. Was looking forward to, hey, maybe I can get into the solo lane rather than just trying to play mid to carry. Because the group of people I play with, it's usually not that easy. You can probably ask the role, but you know, comfort picks are comfort picks. Tried and true. And right now, I love a lot of the warriors. In fact, they're probably the funnest that I've ever seen them being played, aside from maybe Shen and basically Shen. They're all pretty decent, maybe except Odin as well. You can kind of do something with all of them. Now granted, if there's a Bellona or an Osiris in the match, then you might as well just kiss yourself goodbye and just call the assassin on your team and say, hey, you probably clear better than I do, at least do that so you can't take my tower. Just why? Just why are you here? Gods in the solo lane. Just, they smack everything. They basically make everything else feel just like complete garbage. I just don't understand it.